माधव कुंजा विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी। हरे कृष्ण। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय सच्चिनंदना गौर हरे जय सच्चिनंदना गौर हरे गौरा हरि गौरा हरि जय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद गो प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमती जैसी भक्ति वेदांत संघ पाद की जाए। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रद्धास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद के जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनमय की जय। भक्ति देव तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Pad ki jai. Thank you for joining. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized. Verse number 66. Chapter 2, content of Gita summarized, verse number 66 to 68. Yeah. Let me share. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat nasta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Hare Om Tat Sat. 2.66 नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न च अयुक्तस्य भावना न च अभावयतः शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न च अयुक्तस्य भावना न च अभावयतः शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न च अयुक्तस्य भावना न च अभावयतः शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्. Synonyms. Na asti, there cannot be. Buddhi, transcendental intelligence. Ayuktasya, of one who is not connected with Krishna consciousness. Na, not. Cha, and. Ayuktasya, of one devoid of Krishna consciousness. Bhavana, fixed mind, in happiness. Na, not. Cha, and. Abhavayataha, of one who is not fixed. Shanti, peace. Asantasya, of the unpeaceful. Kuta, where is Sukham, happiness. Translation by Divine Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Please repeat. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Verse number 67. Indriyanam hi charatam yan mano anuvidiyate tad asya harati pragnam vayornavam vivambasi indriyanam vicharatam yanmanona vidiyate तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्बसि इन्द्रियाणां विचरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्बसि इन्द्रियाणां विचरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्बसि Indriyanam of the senses, he certainly, charatam, while roaming, yet with which mana, the mind, anuvidiyate, becomes constantly engaged, that asya, his, harati, takes away, pragnam, intelligence, vayu, wind, navam, a boat, iva, like, ambasi, on the water. Translation. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. Repeat. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Verse number 68. तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्य तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्य तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्य तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Tasmat, therefore, yasya, whose, mahabaho, O mighty armed one, nigrihitani, so curved down, sarvasaha, all around, indriyani, the senses, indriyadebhya, from sense objects, tasya, his, prajna, intelligence, pratishtita, fixed. Translation. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Repeat. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. I will try to understand these verses. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दयतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. So here we are discussing chapter 2, verse number 66, 67, 68. In response to the Arjuna's questions, 3 questions, Krishna is responding and giving the answers or solution to his problems, to his questions. So this is in the last section of this chapter, where after Arjuna surrendering, after expressing his doubts, Sainya Darshan, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, first chapter, giving the various qualities of the material world in the form of the Trashtra, the Duryodhana and various others from their party, envious, jealousy, all kinds of diplomacy, not straight, duplicitous nature, cunning, all these characteristics of the material nature has been showcased in the chapter 1, and Arjuna was bewildered by the bodily concept of life, and then he has given his various reasons not doing the duty. I don't want to find no compassion for his own family, and no enjoyment. If they are killed, whom I am going to share with the sinful activity, then destruction of dynasty, then I cannot do anymore. So inaction, I don't know whether to fight or renounce, and sat down on the chariot. Then Krishna instigated him in the beginning. He didn't give any instruction. Then the chapter 2, then first step was this. He couldn't decide. That was the step 1. Then the next section is the Arjuna surrendering to Krishna. Then next section is Krishna started explaining about the Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Then Krishna started explaining Karma Yoga, one by one, step by step, gradual sequence, gradual presentation, systematic presentation. Then Karma Yoga. Then he came to Nishkama Karma Yoga. So in this way, almost 5 sections are over from Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma to Nishkama Karma Yoga. So now this is from 54 to all the way. That was the first question asked by Arjuna. Arjuna expressed his doubts before, but the question wise, this is the first question is asking after surrendering. Arjuna is asking. Arjuna was Tata Pragnasya Kabasha Samadhistasya Keshav Kim Asit, Kim Pravaset, Kim Asit, Kim Vrajeta Kim. So he's asking 3 questions predominantly. One who is situated in fixed up Krishna consciousness, how does he speak? Yeah, Kim Prabhaseta. Then Kim Asit, how does he sit? And Kim Vrajeta Kim. Then how does he how does he speak, how does he sit, and how does he walk? These are the 3 questions. Then Krishna, so these 3 questions are nothing but it is explained that one desperately Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving commentary on this. These 3 questions, Kim Prabhaseta, means basically senses. How does he speak? Means the tongue, the speech, and tongue means what we eat and what we speak. These 2 things must be controlled. So one who is Kim Prabhaseta means one who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness. How does he speak? How does he act? Especially when there is happiness, distress, when there is a praise and dispraise, when there is a difficulties. How does he? When there is somebody is putting him down or various difficulties, then how does he act? So how does he speak? How does he react to that situation? That is the Kim Prabhaseta. So that is the first characteristic. Depending on how he acts, so accordingly, how does his speech, especially his tongue, his words, his vacha, how much is controlled, so that the senses and especially specifically speech. Then Kim Asita. Then how much the person, how he is unresponsive, unresponsive to the 3-fold miseries, Adi Bhautika, Adi Atmika, and Adi Daivika, which means miseries caused by by our own body and mind, miseries caused by the other living entities, miseries caused by the demigods. Adi Daiva means external material, whether rain or storm, various. So that is other living entities is Adi Bhautika, Adi Atmika, Adi Daivika. Adi Bhautika is the other living entities. Adi Daivika is the demigods, the material manifestation, and then Adi Atmik is our own body and mind. So one who is so the Kim Asit, Kim Prabhaseta, Kim Asit, Kim Vrajeta. These 3 questions are asked, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining this Prabhaseta means one who, how does he respond to especially the happiness, goodness, distress, difficulties. So then the Asita means how is unresponsive to the 3 modes of material nature. Even so many things may come up in his life, but how much he is strong in his determination, that he is not moved by any of that. So whether it's a mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, so much irritation, so much agitation comes from the various, that means his mind, intelligence, senses, but he is not bewildered, he is not agitated, he is very much fixed up. So that is the yeah, and it is mentioned, yeah. What will that person say in the face of happiness, distress, repeated respect, disrespect, praise, yeah, determination? These are the first one. Kim Masi, in what way his senses remain unresponsive to the external objects, which is the three modes of materialness. And then last one is how does he walk? And then how does he walk? Means how he responds now. When these situations, the previous one is unresponsive, that means he is not responding. Even if somebody is criticizing, somebody say generally for when somebody, especially as a devotee, somebody is criticizing about the Lord or his spiritual master, devotees, then either he has to leave that place or he has to strongly argue and bring him down, or he has to give up his body. These are the three considerations Shastra gives. But otherwise, in general, people living entity, others, not in the context of, but generally criticizing ourselves, criticizing us, are general things. Then how is still unresponsive? He is not agitated. He may respond, but he is not agitated. That's what it means. Now the third one is, what way will his senses respond to the objects, sense objects? This is Vrajayadakam. These are predominantly, these three questions are very important. Day-to-day basis, how we act, we can gauge against these three things, and then we know whether we are studying fixed up Krishna consciousness or not. What stage, how much we are controlled by our intelligence. So that's what. Now, so in the last few verses, so these are the three questions asked. Now, in this first one, the previous one, previous section, as here these three questions are asked, it is talking specifically about the senses, about the mind, and senses. About the senses are the mind, about the gross body contains the senses also, other than the senses. Various types of senses are there: karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, the working senses, and the knowledge acquiring senses, which are five: eyes, ears, nose, nostrils, tongue, and skin. These are the five knowledge acquiring senses. Then you have working sense, hands, legs, and genitals, anus. So these, in this way, working senses, knowledge acquiring senses, mouth also, working senses. So 5 and 5, 10. These are the senses within the gross body, and the subtle body has mind, intelligence, ego. So the first section, Krishna is talking about the mind. So one who is fixed up Krishna consciousness, he doesn't operate on the mental platform. He doesn't speculate. He is always following Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. He is not deviating. He is not going by his own mind's dictations, because mind's activity, characteristics of the mind. Kapil Dev is speaking. Lord Kapila is speaking into Mother Devahuti in third canto about these characteristics of the mind: is accepting, rejecting, sankalpa, vikalpa, thinking, feeling, willing. These are the activities of the mind. Then, then Krishna is talking about how the person who is situated, who is in fixed up Krishna consciousness, how does he has the first question, Kim Prabhaseta, that was addressed so far in the previous section. How he reacts, whether happiness, distress, disrespect, respect, all these things, praise, all this. And then now the coming to senses. I think senses are also covered here. After the mind, that section 1 question asked, now the next one also, Krishna started explaining how the senses are being controlled. One who is fixed up, and the example is given by tortoise. How tortoise withdraws its senses limbs, kurmo angani va. Like that, the one who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness, he withdraws like kurma. So that means we discussed the foundation. So strong foundation, Kurma represents strong foundation. So that means he has a strong foundation of regulation, regulative principle. That's why that Krishna brings up next. And then Krishna talks about how but the other side, the one who is not on that Krishna fixed up consciousness, Achala Buddhi, Sthira Achala Buddhi, this was talked about. That's how Arjuna asked question. As soon as Krishna said Achala Buddhi, what is this Achala Buddhi? Means, how do I know that person is in the Achala Buddhi? That is what the another name is, Sthita Prajna. So that was the main questions on that. Who is that Sthita Prajna? Characteristics of Sthita Prajna person. So then this in this second section about the senses, if the person who is not fixed up in Krishna consciousness, they are situated in, they are always contemplating the objects of the senses. Then what will happen? They are desiring to enjoy, desiring to get happiness through sense objects, devoid of Krishna. So away from Krishna, they are trying to enjoy for themselves. Then what will happen? Obviously, desires cannot be fulfilled. Some may be fulfilled, but most of the time half fulfilled or may not be fulfilled at all. Then naturally, Jayata Vishampam Sangastes Upajayate Sangas Sanjayate Kam Krodhat Vijayate Krodhat Bhav Sammo Smriti Brahmsat Buddhanasa Sammoha Smriti Brahmsat Smriti Brahmsat Buddhanasa Pranasati. That means from the desires which are not fulfilled, lust develops, then anger, Kama Krodha Vijayate, anger, then delusion, bewilderment, memory loss. What we will do, we don't know when anger comes. This is the problem with the senses, contemplation on sense objects which are devoid of Krishna consciousness. That's what it is. What is this Krishna consciousness? Means in simple terms, we know devotion service, but we will discuss tomorrow evening in Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Some of these topics also will be covered there, so that I will not cover those details. What exactly Krishna consciousness means in detail from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we will understand that. So here, so one who is devoid of consciousness, then this is what happens. He constantly is bewildered by this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. Naturally, constantly gets upset, agitated, angry, and then it goes on further. One who is not at all Krishna conscious, then he goes on to further delusion, bewilderment of memory, and then he will do all kinds of weird things. Sometimes this, I don't know, I have to change the phone or keep getting disconnected. 1 minute. I have to change the conference number, I think. Okay, so let me. We are discussing about the senses, the contemplation, one who is devoid of consciousness. That's what happens. Then after that, Krishna also talked about, now started, next section is talked about from 66, we are discussing 66, 67, 68. Mind is over, senses is over. He covered the Kim Prabhaseta question, characteristics of a person who is situated, how he responds to various things. Now, Krishna is talking about the intelligence. How a person who is situated in Sthita Prajna, how his intelligence works, how does he respond, becomes unresponsive to various things. Response. So, Kim Asita, Kim Rajeta is talking about, especially intelligence. So, that's why in 65, last week verse, what did we discuss? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate. Prasanna chetasa asu buddhir parya avatishtate. So, buddhi means intelligence. So, by causeless mercy of the Lord, prasada means not only the Mahaprasad, food tasted by Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, you can taste with any of his bodily part, not like us, with just hands and putting in the mouth. But he can eat with any of his limbs. There is no difference between. That's why everything is transcendental about his body, nothing material about it. And he can do anything and everything with any of his limbs. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pasyanti panti kalayanti charam jaganti govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So that's why all indriyas, all his senses, all his bodily parts can do any job. They're not like in our conception, we have certain idea. It is not like that. So that is Krishna's position. So that's a prasade sarva dukkhanam. So that means causeless mercy of the Lord. Causeless mercy of the Lord means when he decides, he doesn't need to give mercy. That's why through Vaidhi sadhana bhakti practicing, it is not easy. It is very difficult. So, but by Krupa Siddhi, it becomes easier. That's why spiritual master is needed, and this verse is also talking about it. We'll go into that in a few minutes. So, by the mercy, that causeless mercy, how will we receive? Just like Sri Prabhupada, who knows about Supreme Lord Sri Krishna? Especially maybe in India, we know to some extent, but even after knowing also how much we are following, we were never chanting 16 rounds. We were not so much in Krishna consciousness without Sri Prabhupada giving this knowledge. So you can imagine. But all of the rest of the world. So if it is not causeless mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna appearing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving this, how you think all of them who are not aware of this regulative principle of Krishna conscious life, how they are able to take up? It is causeless mercy of Lord. Who has given? Prabhupada told, yes, I brought the good fortune for you. So I don't have qualification. How did I come to this? Prabhupada told, no, I brought the good fortune. I'm not Lord Chaitanya. I'm not like Lord Chaitanya to look after maybe some qualification. But even if you fall down, even because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict. He was not looking at qualification, but one who accepted, one who following, but then he started doing irreligious things. Then Mahaprabhu was very strict, especially within his association. So then Prabhupada told, no, I cannot act like that. I am not Lord Chaitanya. I need everybody. Even somebody falls down, still Prabhupada is. So that is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Prabhupada reduced to 16 rounds. So Prabhupada has done so much compassion. Whatever spiritual master, pure devotee of the Lord says, then the Lord goes by his word. There is no, that's why you see the great difficulties come sometimes. We see that we will go and discuss, you can understand the Guru's position. What happens when we are in the strong boat on a river or ocean, especially on an ocean, even on the flight. One instance, Prabhupada was there and other disciples were there. They were all trembling because flight was completely came down 10,000 feet or many thousands of feet suddenly. But Prabhupada was not at all, as not a sign, not a single sign of Prabhupada was no face expression, nothing, no change in his expressions or bodily sentiment, nothing. He was just normal. He was just chanting. But everybody is up and down, and people were in so much in anxiety, obviously, right? So because that is our bodily concept of life. Even our disciples were there. They were also what to do. Prabhupada was all right. They wanted to check. They were also chanting and this and that. They were also anxiety. But Prabhupada is completely, yes, difficulty is there at any time. So who can say Krishna is the only shelter? Padam natesham. So that is, but when Guru is there, what difficulty? Then naturally nothing happened. Prabhupada was there. Otherwise something would have happened. But that is what Guru means. Pure devotee of the Lord means. So it's not an ordinary thing. It's not. That is the causeless mercy of the Lord. That is the prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate. As soon as we receive causeless mercy of the Lord by acting in such a way that we become a recipient to receive that mercy, not act like a Duryodhana. Krishna giving causeless mercy came to Duryodhana to give. Okay, all right, whatever you did so far, it's okay. Now at least give 5 villages, that's all. He came to, okay, let's do some adjustment. He didn't. Rather, he tried to bind Krishna. He thought Krishna is just like any other person. So that is you can understand the foolish mentality of the mind, how mind works. One who is completely in that ignorant state. That is the problem. So this is what is happening. So that's why we need to receive that. By the causeless mercy of the Lord, if we receive, then what will happen? One who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness, one who is Stita Prajna, he will receive causeless, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, his intelligence is fixed up. He is very much satisfied. Prasanna Chayatasayas, he is very much happy. He is not agitated at all. He is always happy. Doesn't matter what position, what's going on, job, health, so many things we go through in life. Beginning or middle or end, depending on who, at what position, what stars, what things are going on. So everybody goes through it, whether small or big. But how is reacting, how is situated, that determines his consciousness, his free will, his ego. So his intelligence, his mind, how is it situated? So that's what has been described here. Very important chapter and section you have to understand. Now, in this 3 verses, further on the intelligence. Now, the characteristics of the intelligence is also there. We'll go through that. So, here it is described in the 66 onwards, where it is mentioned, Na ayuktasya. So, what is that? Verse 66. Especially, it is talking about one who is devoid of. In 65, it is talking about one who is how he gets happiness, full happiness. He is not agitated at all. He is completely happy. And he fixed up in study in intelligence because he is connected to Krishna. Now he is talking about opposite. 66. Yeah. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya. Yeah. Nasti means it is not there. The buddhi means intelligence. Ayuktasya means yukta means Krishna consciousness. My daughter's name is also Yukta, Pannaga Yukta. Pannaga is Balram. Yukta means connecting with Krishna, connecting to Krishna consciousness. Yukta, that's how it came from. So, the Ayuktasya, A means opposite. One who is not connected. Ayuktasya. So, in Srirangam also, I heard at that time that Lakshmi Devi is also called Pannaga Yukta. So, she is always serving the Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, Lord Ranganatha. So that's how in this way she is also called. She is always serving the Lord who is sleeping on the hoods, Pannaga. So means hoods of that Ananta safe. Lord Ranganatha is sleeping. Balram is holding. So it became a bed in that way. So anyway, here na asti buddhir ayuktasya. One who is devoid of Krishna, one who is not connected with Krishna. What happened? Nacha ayuktasya bhavana. So, nacha ayuktasya bhavana. Then further, nacha abhavayata shantir ashantasya kutasukam. So, one who is not connected with Supreme in Krishna can neither have transcendental intelligence. Yeah, ayuktasya means not connected. But then next one, bhavana means mind. Then abhavayata shantir means mind intelligence. Obviously it doesn't have transcendental intelligence. Then neither nor study mind. Then without which, how if intelligence mind is not connected with Krishna, then where is the question of peace? Where is the question of peace? And then mentioned as ashantasya kutasukam. If there is no peace, then how there will be happiness? This is the opposite. One who is not fixed up in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is giving both, so that we know clearly what is right, what is not right, what is regulated, what is Krishna conscious person does, and what other person who is not Krishna conscious, who is not regulated, how he acts. That Krishna is showing in this example. One who is not connected with Krishna, so he will not get his intelligence, mind is not fixed, and he will not have peace in his life. Neither he will have happiness. So how will we get peace? So that has been explained by, in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna is telling 3 things. One who follows these 3 things, one who understands these 3 principles, then he will get happiness. Which is, Bhoktaram, Ignatapasam, Sarvaloka Maheswaram, Suhrudam Sarvabhotanam, Gnatmamam, Shanti Muchyati. So how does 3 things Krishna is talking about? Bhoktaram, Ignatapasam. So, Sarvaloka Maheswaram, that is second one. Then, Suhrudam Sarvabhotanam. Bhoktaram, Ignatapasam means one who is Supreme Lord, understands that Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. Bhokta, he is the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram Ignatapasam. He is the proprietor of, he is the enjoyer of, supreme enjoyer of what? Austerity, charity, penance, sacrifice. That means whenever we do sacrifice, whenever we do charity, whenever we do austerity, whether it's Ekadasi or Narsingh Chaturdasi, Janmashtami, whatever. Jagannath Sani Yatra is coming up, Radha Yatra, whatever austerities, whatever charities, whatever sacrifices, whatever donations, whatever we do, who is the proprietor? We are not the proprietor. We think we are the one who is giving money, I should get something in return. No, then that means we are not understanding. Everything belongs to Krishna. It should be Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam also. So that is what here it means. One who understands that this belongs to Krishna, I am offering as an instrument. Teeny bit. It is, everything belongs to him, but still, as we go to Ganga or any holy rivers, Yamuna or Narmada or Saraswati, whatever river we have, then we go and take bath, we take the same water and offer back. Like we get pocket money from father or mother, we may buy something again for sometimes, and as a gift, then father and mother are still happy. It is his money, their money, but still, we are buying like that. Supreme Fathers, everything. That is the first principle, understanding that So that's why utilization on a day-to-day basis is very important. What is a need, what is a want? One who is Krishna conscious, he always checks. It is not dependent, but in this world you can see it is 95% above 90%, or majority of the people are not in that mode. Even as devotees also, we see that it is not in the mode. Money belongs to me, I can do whatever I like. There is no understanding of Krishna is given. That's why there is a free will. That's why it is explained here. It is explained in Gita. Iswarasya sarvabhutanam hriddesho Arjuna tishthati brahmayati sarvabhutani yantrarudani maya. So Kapil Dev is explaining about this intelligence, how this works. Dravya spuranam vijnanam is Krishna. This body, this dravya means it is body made up of the gross materials, earth, water, air, fire, ether, five, and then the senses. Who has made? The body is made, the machine. That's why Krishna is talking about yantra rudani maya. I am situated in the heart of this living entity. I have given the machine. How does the machine is formed? The machine is given by material nature. How? Because the living entity has certain desires. Spuranam vijnanam, dravya spuranam vijnanam. Because of the desire, the free will is there. See, if he has a wrong free will, if he has a certain desire, then Krishna, to the degree he has a certain karma, certain bank balance, to the degree Krishna is allowing and giving certain facilities, how he appears, what family, how much opulence he may have, whether it's a bank balance. Opulence doesn't mean just only money. Opulence includes his properties, his family, and whatnot, so on and so forth. All those coming under opulence. So his education, so all these things. So it is all depending on purva karma, what we have done accordingly, we are getting certain. So the yantra, the body is made by the material nature, maya dakshena prakriti krimanani gunai karvani samada ahankar vimodatma kartam. So the prakriti material nature is giving this type of body by the direction of the Supreme Lord. He is situated in the heart, he is watching, and based on these desires, Krishna is giving certain type of body. Because of the desires, this body, and then the senses are formed, and then the 9 holes are formed within the mother's womb, depending on what karma he had, and then the desires he have, the free will, then these 9 holes are formed, and all the senses are formed. Senses has the sense object attachment. When we say senses, everybody has senses, but the difference is what he is carrying on from his previous life, impressions, chitta, what kind of desires he had, all those will be coming together with subtle body is carrying again in this body, machine. Like you go and buy a car, you are getting a machine based on certain features, certain functionality, certain things, how much you pay. According to the same thing here also, that is what it is compared. So accordingly we are getting, and Prabhupada gives a nice example. In US, Western world, it is common. You have a dog. Then the owner takes a dog outside. It has a chain or leash, whatever you call, to the neck. And you are taking the dog, and the dog goes here and there. Free will is there, but not so much. It is what again? Chain. That means controlled by the owner. That is there. He doesn't lose. He doesn't take away that leash. He knows otherwise it will run away. So he has the control. He has the leash. Dog is going here and there. So same way, the living entity also, the Supreme Lord, the material world is that there is a control, like a leash. We have the leash, that control. But the free will is also there to some extent, to the degree what we have, how much free will we used in the last life, and what kind of karma we have done. Accordingly, the free will will be different, higher, lower, moderate. It depends on that. Like the demigod, depending on their karma, accordingly they will get. But everybody has a free will to a certain extent. So that's how. But we are not realizing that we are being controlled. We are thinking this is independent. I can do whatever I like. Whether I follow regulation or not, who cares? Human being means I can do whatever I like. Who has the guts to ask me? But yes, whether you have whatever you like, you can do. But the reaction you have to face. That's what Krishna is speaking here. One who is not fixed up, then when he is ayuktasya, there is no happiness, because he doesn't think that the bhoktaram is not Krishna, it is me. Because I am working, I am getting money, I can buy whatever I like. There is no want or need. Everything is a want only. It is not really needed. You can survive without it. But it is still. So As devotees also, Prabhupada explains in some Yashomatanandan Prabhu was giving an example in Juhu. Then devotees are asking, I want to go from the temple to downtown or downtown to temple to get something done. They want a car, they want to go in a taxi, not train, not using minimum things. I know many, like my Guru Maharaj, even Radhanath Maharaj, and many others. They went hitchhiking on so many different flights to go from here to India. We take one flight, that itself was 16 hours. Then, oh, I had so much I have done. It's so much we get agitated and anxiety and all. But they went in so many different flights, so many hours of journey they went through. And they don't have any of those feelings. They're fully, operating under the full of Krishna consciousness. That is the difference between us and those who are perfected their life. So, Yashomatanandan Prabhu told them that I cannot give, you go in a train or something because that is Krishna's money. It is not really needed. It is like you want more some facility. But Krishna's property should be utilized very carefully. Prabhupada, all right, at least they are chanting, they are coming, they are serving. Sometimes you allow them, give them. It's okay. Once in a while, what to do? So this is how Prabhupada, very compassionate. Naturally, he allowed them. So this is what we have to also constantly. Sometimes we can allow to some extent. Obviously, we cannot catch hold of too much. That also creates a problem. But to some extent, so it always we have to see one who is Krishna consciousness. What is the need? What is the want in throughout our life, whether it's a job or whatever we have in life. Everything we must go through this. Otherwise, it's a great anxiety. We will get things, but later on it brings great distress and anxiety that we are not realizing. So what happens? That's what Krishna is talking about here. So just like the dog is controlled by the leash of the owner, but dog is thinking, I am free. I can do, he will go here, he will go there, and the owner is also okay. Sometimes he will pull him away and then do sometimes nonsense also. What you can want to do? Owner is trying to control, but he is going the same way. Supreme Lord also, he has the control. He has the control. But free will is also there. If the person, despite Krishna is arranging spiritual master, books and various things, so many different signals, already difficulties, so many problems, we have already faced it, we know it is not a good thing to do, but still we want to do that again because free will is there. So this is what, we should know that we are being controlled. We are not free. We are not free. So that we have to realize, just like the dog is not realizing. So even though it is under the chain, so we are also not realizing. Under the cover of these senses and sense objects and the mind impression from the past karma, and intelligence is not sharpened by sadhu and shastra and guru, and then automatically we are being controlled. We are not realizing the control. So that's why we have to, first thing, in order to get peace, we must understand that Bhokta, who is the Bhokta? In each and every activity. Each and every activity we do. Bhoktaram Ignatapsam. Then Sarvaloka Mahesram. We should understand that Supreme Lord is the controller. Sarvaloka Mahesram of the whole world. Is the proprietor, is the controller. That is the Sarvaloka Mahesram. Then Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam. He is the closest friend of all living entities. So one who understands this principle of the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of all your austerity, charity, penance, sacrifice, whatever we do in life. So even coming to temple, giving a fruit, a flower, no need to expect a result. Things just like you depend. One who knows, understands this principle, Prabhupada gives a small child. He doesn't know. He depends on the parent. Like that, the one who is understand these three principles, that Supreme Lord is the enjoyer of all, everything, all activities, and He is the creator, He is the controller of all, not just us, demigod, everybody, who in the whole world, everything. Sarvaloka Mahesram. And then Surudam Sarva, He is the closest friend. You cannot find any friend in this whole world who can be always a friend. Whether you are, even if you are an enemy, envious to Lord, still He is a friend. Because He is the one who is there, super soul. Nobody is following us. Nobody comes with us when we leave this body. Who is there? Only super soul is there guiding. What kind of body you are going to get next? What? He is the one helping. There also, in the next life also, He is helping. Through different media. Wherever you go, whether you go to prison, whether you go to hell, wherever you go, still Krishna is guiding. Trying to educate, trying to reform you. But we are the one who is, no. I want to follow This is good for me. So then Krishna is still, but he still gives chances after chances after chances. Who will give? Everybody will be, depressed and, give up. But Lord Krishna never gives up. That is the Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam. One who understands these three principles and depends on the Lord like a small child, depends on the parent. So like that, we should depend on the Lord. Then we get the peace. Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantimuchyate. Then automatically we become peaceful. That is what it is connected with Krishna means. Here it is mentioned, Nasti Buddhir Ayuktasya. One who is not connected with Krishna, there is no peace and happiness. Krishna is telling also in 17th chapter, in multiple different places, in different ways, you will not be happy. So also one who is attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. In 11th canto also this is mentioned, where it is mentioned. Before that also, we should, also we have to understand this is like the one who is patient. One who is a patient when you have a disease, what doctor will give? Doctor will give a diet, doctor will give a prescription, what to do, when to take, what to follow, all those activities and everything. Then if the patient thinks that, no, I know better, or I can do whatever, even though he has given, it's okay. I can follow my diet, I can follow my own thing. Or I will add something, or I will do something else, so change something, then what will happen? Then obviously you cannot get the desire, you cannot come out of your disease. Your disease, you will not be able to get cured if you don't follow. Small things you may be able to, but any serious disease, a serious thing, you must follow the prescription of the expert doctor. Same way, so the Krishna and the spiritual master is giving, if you want to get cured, then you must follow the injunctions, you must follow the regulated principles. That's why Shastra says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhyalila, Rupa Goswami, Mahaprabhu is instructing Rupa Goswami. In that, Mahaprabhu is telling, this is what people think, that on the name of God, on the name of religion, even as devotees also, this is also applies to devotees. Don't think that we are not in this category, but many times we might be also in this category also. How we do a lip service. It is mentioned here. Veda nishta madhye andaka veda mukhe mane veda nisheda papa kare dharma nahi gane. So it is mentioned here. So how much it is important to follow. Where it is mentioned, among the human beings, those who are, this is the 19th chapter of Madhyalila Chaitanya Charitamrita 146. Among human beings, those who are followers of Vedic principles are considered civilized. Among those, almost half simply give up service while doing various activities, all kinds of while performing all kinds of sinful activities against these principles. Such people do not care for regulative principles. So it is like a lip service. Krishna is talking about, they are doing a lip service. They are not following. On the name, they may do some here and there, some chanting, some here and there, but they are not realizing. Many times they don't follow any regulative principles. Other than chanting, that it is always covered with 4 regulative principles. It is very important, because if the 4 regulative principles are basic, if we don't follow, then that means we are doing a lip service only. But if we are chanting and we don't want to do service, that is also lip service only. If in COVID and few times, we may not be able to physically, but when we are chanting, we are asking, oh Krishna, oh internal energy of the Lord, oh Krishna, oh all attractive Lord, oh Almighty Lord, oh Rama, oh Krishna, Hare, energy of the Lord, Srimad Radha, engage me in your service. That is what chanting means. And then you don't want to do any service. Then that means it is a kind of lip service only. Chanting is also one kind of service, the Nama service to the holy name. But if you want to progress, as we can see further, next verse is talking about what? As a strong wind on the boat, one who is going on the boat, a strong wind comes, what happens? Even a strong wind will carry away the boat, take away from the boat. So even that means even my senses, the one who is even study intelligence, even one sense is agitated, that's it. He will be carried away from his intelligence. So that means even one sense. That means if you are not doing any service while only just chanting, we are not engaged. We are not engaging all senses because we are not perfect. If we are perfect, otherwise we can do just that. Also, we'll be discussing in tomorrow's class, Chaitanya Leela class 7 to 8 in Temple channel tomorrow evening. So there also we'll be discussing this topic about this 9 types of devotion service, Mahaprabhu's teaching. So they, otherwise it means any one of them can deliver us, just Sravanam, just Kirtanam. But we must, because we are not at that category, we are not at that level. Unless we have to slowly and steadily, gradually, we have to engage our senses. That's why while chanting, we are engaging our touch, and also we are hearing, we are speaking, we are chanting loudly. We shouldn't be chanting within. We should chant a little bit where we can hear, at least. So that is what is recommended by Haridas Thakur and Acharyas. We should chant. There are 3 ways to chant. So completely internal, we cannot even hear. And very soft. So and then loud. 3 ways we can chant. But for us, generally loud is better, where we can hear our own what we are chanting. So that's what we are supposed to do. But other than chanting, where the 2 senses are 3 senses: the touch, the tongue, the ears. 3 senses are engaged. But other senses also must be engaged, so that we develop taste for the holy name also. So that means physical service, the hands, legs, everything, all these senses must be engaged. So that's what. Otherwise, it becomes it's very difficult. So it will become like a lip service, and other senses are agitated. One sense agitated, then if you are on the boat, if you are in the Pacific Ocean or any ocean, whatever boat you got, so this boat is compared. That example is there. So it is explained that the human form of the life is compared like a boat. This is not human form of life, that human form, this body, the external gross body and the senses is the first layer. So that is compared with a boat. Boat is a platform. So then you have next, you have the occupant. That means soul is occupier. The living entity is called soul. The Chitkana, which is active participant, or who is active, is a conscious. He is there within this gross and within that subtle body, mind is a false ego. And so the soul, we are talking about the soul. The soul, the same way, on the boat, boat is called as this boat is called as this human body, and within that body, soul is there. The soul is like occupier in the boat, and then who is driving? Pilot should be there. The one actually who is taking the boatman. So he is called the pilot. So whether it's a flight or a train or a boat, somebody is driving us. So he is called the pilot. And then ocean. We are not talking about the river or pond. Ocean. Ocean is called ignorance. Ocean is compared with ignorance. We are in this material Bhavasagara. That is called Samsara Dava Nalanida Loka Tranaya Karunya Gana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. If you want to go cross over this material ocean of ignorance, so as it is mentioned in 67th verse, one sense, just like the wind blows away your boat, how strong boat in ocean, we know so many big accidents happen. So obviously, the same way that example is been given here. Just like one sense out of 5 senses, especially the tongue. If the tongue is not controlled, however you try, you cannot control any other senses. Just one tongue, one sense. A tongue cannot be. If tongue is not controlled, that means tasting only Krishna Prasad as much as possible. Speak about Krishna. Don't discuss or too much on which is not Krishna consciousness. Prajalpa, especially criticizing or talking about worldly things. Yes, you can read, maybe keep it to yourself, but don't use your tongue to too much on talking about the worldly things. Yes, that's what goes on in wherever you go, whether WhatsApp, Facebook, news channel, wherever you throughout the day, days and the whole year goes like that. But they are not realizing what is happening to the reaction. Time is running out. That they are not realizing. So that's what this is compared. In this way, the boat has been. We can slip down into the water. We can fall down because of the strong wind. Same way, When the strong wind is carried of this ignorance, three modes of material nature is carried out in this material world. We are in this ocean of ignorance of this samsara. Then within this human form, within this body, we are thinking we are enjoying sitting on the boat, the sole occupant of the boat. Then we need to follow them. It is mentioned the wind, the favorable wind is called Shastra. Sadhu and Shastra Guru, here Shastra is called favorable wind. So one who is under the guidance of the Shastra, and then the pilot is compared with a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. One who is following the direction of the pilot, direction of the expert boatman, especially, and then following the Shastra, following obviously Sadhu, the spiritual master doesn't speak anything against Shastra. He always follows the Shastra. Then what will happen? You will be able to cross over. It is like jumping over the ocean like calf's hoof print. Is mentioned Samasrataye Padapallavam Punya Iso Murare. What is it? Punya Iso Murare. I forget the last two lines. Punya Iso Murare. Padam Padam Yatve Padam Natesham. Before that, Vatsa Padam, Mahat Padam, Vatsa Padam. Forget. Anyway, so it is talking about how by simply taking the shelter of the lotus feet of spiritual master, Supreme Lord, we can cross over this material ocean like calf's hoof print. It becomes so easy. But following the instructions, as it is in this way, the example is compared. That's why Krishna is giving that example. Vayur Navam Ivambasi. The mind, the senses are carrying away like a wind, carrying us away from Krishna constantly, every day. This is happening. So that's why we must take shelter of the Shastra. That becomes wind. Instead of opposite, it becomes favorable. Instead of unfavorable, it becomes favorable, because we are constantly reading. Sukadeva Goswami asking Parikshit Maharaj, then Sukadeva Goswami speaking that. If you hear this nectarian message of Srimad Bhagavatam every day, Pibanti ye Bhagavata Atmana Satam Sravana Katamrita Pibati Katamrita Sravana Putesh Samrutam Sravana Putesh Samrutam Punanti ye Te Vishay Vidushitasayam Es Vidushan Vrajanti Tat Sarvaruhantikam. So as soon as the living entity practitioner hears with rapt attention, Pibanti drinks this nectarian message regularly every day. Sravana Putesh Samrutam, it must enter through ear holes into the heart. Then naturally automatically, then Vishay Punanti Te Vishay Vidushitasam, all kinds of distress, material suffering, everything will be destroyed gradually, not just one day. We are not Katwanga Maharaj within 1 minute becoming Krishna conscious. We are not at that level. So that it takes time, because all our senses are not in our control right now. So that's why, but by following this process gradually, especially the hearing and chanting must go on. That is also called Bhagavat Vidhi. We are following, especially Brahma Mahatma Gaudi Sampradaya. We are very much concentrated on the Bhagavat Dharma, Bhagavat Vidhi, than Pancharatri Vidhi. This also we'll discuss a little more detail tomorrow evening, 7 to 8 in Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So in this way, Krishna is explaining so that how one must use his free will. So because otherwise human life means tapasya, austerity. If you are not following austerity, is in this only. Waking up early, chanting, nothing more. It is not a great austerity. But waking up early is a great austerity in general. For many people, it's not natural. We must balance. And Prabhupada also gives, just like the ordinary woman, they used to go and fetch water all the way early in the morning. Even if it is too much heat, too much cold, still they go and fetch water. And just without hands touching, they put the whole pot on the head. They are very much balanced, no touching. They go like walk like that with that water pot. It doesn't come, it doesn't fall down. So like that, we must be balanced. That balance, that's why in the previous verse, 1 or 2 verses before, Prasada Sarvadukkham, that is 65. 64 is talking about Vidhi, regulative principles. That regulation is very much required. Everything, especially for Grihastha, it is very much required. Little bit license is given, but that must be done in regulation. Whether it's eating, sleeping, mating, all this, everything must be done in regulation. Slowly, gradually, internal detachment must happen. That will happen when we are regulated. If we are not regulated, this will go on. Many lifetimes will go on. So nothing much change will happen. Transform. That's why it becomes lip service. If we are not making any change in our lifestyle, instead of needs, wants, in our transformation, we are not changing, we are not regulating our lifestyle, then it becomes more and more implication. So the free will we are utilizing to the highest extent, and then in next life we will have to suffer more, because more you use free will, more we use up your pious credit. What will happen? Then the next life we will have to suffer more. We will not get even what we got in this life. So that's why we have to very carefully utilize things, how we utilize. So that's why it is mentioned, tapasa brahmacharyena samena damena cha. Tapa, austerity must be done. Human life means austerity. That kind of austerity means taking only Krishna Prasad, trying to hear, trying to read every day, categorize our time, using this time efficiently. In this way, we can, that is austerity. So then automatically regulation, naturally senses will be under control, because the intelligence is sharpened. If there is no actual planning. That's why Prabhupada, the Chanakya Pandit is quoting. So where it is mentioned, if you plan, like if you want to pass the exam in distinction, then you may pass, you may just pass, or you may get 60%. If you are thinking about, if you have a goal of 60%, then you may just basic pass, hardly any, just by medium marks. But if you have a goal high, so that means that's why you have to have a goal on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis. What should be your goal? What you are going to plan in this month, in this 6 months or a year? If you have a little bit higher goal, then you can achieve at least something. You may not achieve the whole thing. Everybody has a goal. Businessman, even the job, everybody has a goal. For a one who is in an apartment, he has a goal to move into a house. Like this, everybody has a goal. No, but in terms of spiritual goal, what we are doing about it, that's what we have to consider. If we are not setting the goal, we are not planning, then material nature is planning. That's what is happening. Yantra Rudhani Maya. So Asatpati, we are following the Asatpati instead of Satpati. We are moving from spiritual activities into material activities. That's what is happening with us. So that's what these verses are telling, how intelligence must be sharpened, how intelligence must be controlled. It shouldn't be used. Even though free will is there, desires, we cannot become desireless, obviously, but the desires should be molded towards Krishna consciousness. So in Bhagavatam beginning itself it is mentioned, Kamasya Indriya Pritir Jiveta Lavata. It is mentioned Jiveta Lavata, then what is that? Jivasya Tattva Jignana Na Ardho Yascheha Karma Bhi. Life desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only healthy life, self-preservation, meant for inquiring about the absolute truth, nothing else. Yeah, that's why the devotees are always happy, because Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kame Sakali Asant, Krishna Bhakti Nishkam Ataiva Santa. Because he's always happy. He's not looking for any benefits. He's not Bhakti Mukti Siddhi Kame. Those who are Siddhas, mystic yogis, are always looking for, I want some mystic perfections. Like Hiranyakasipu, like Vishwamitra, many of them, yogis, are always trying to get some perfections, some magic. Or those who are Jnanis, they are always trying to get perfections, mukti, they want to get liberation, merge into Brahman effulgence. And then those who are ordinary, living and they are following the karma mimamsa theory, they want to enjoy them, bhukti, they want to just enjoy, get the more and more facilities for enjoyment. Then they can never be happy. You can go on trying. Is Vishwamitra happy? No, he went on. So many difficulties. He was agitated also. So we see so many examples for this Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi and Kam. But one who is devotee is always happy. He is very peaceful. That is why it is compared. Even one who is a Brahmana, if he is not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, then he will not be happy. Even if he is a Brahmana also, even though he is in a mood of goodness. It is completely. As soon as he is away from Krishna, taking shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. So that means internally, not externally. Externally, you may see so many Brahmanas doing worship or being in temple or doing something. But internally, he is not in that mode. When I will get my salary, or when I will buy a home, when I will do this, when I will. His focus is, internal consciousness is somewhere else. So that's what Prahlad Maharaj is talking about in the third verse in his prayers to Nrsimhadev. Vipradhi Satguna Yutad, Vipras Dvi Satguna Yutad. Aravinda Nava, one who is a Vipra Brahmana, but he has this even though he has qualities. Sanat Sujata talks about 12 qualities. He has the 12 qualities as Brahmana, but Aravinda Nava, Padaravinda Vimukad. So he is against the taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Then immediately, as soon as he is against, then immediately he is disqualified. Padaravinda Vimukad Swapacham Varishtam. Then even better than him is the dog eater who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Even though he was previously he was a dog eater, he was not a Brahmana by birth, not even lower. 4 orders lower. Brahmana, Vaishya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, below Sudra even, 5th grade. But still he will be better than Brahmana, because as soon as he has taken shelter of Krishna, Vishnu, so the Supreme Lord, then automatically he becomes favorable. Where? Because he is using, why? Because Mano Vachana Eitartha. So Mano Vachana Eitartha Pranam Kulam Iti Burimana. So he is using his life, his mind, his intelligence, his wealth, Artha, his life, his family also. Then automatically everything gets, his life, his family, 21 generations gets purified by being a devotee, by taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. This is the advantage. But as soon as somebody is not Ayuktasya, then automatically his intelligence is not fixed, his mind is not fixed, he is always agitated, no happiness, despite buying a big car, despite buying big houses, a lot of money, so many things you may have, so many opulences. But none of them can satisfy, none of them can give happiness. Even sometimes as demigods also, they are always agitated when Hiranyakashipu will come, when this demon will come, that demon will come, what will happen to my post? This is also going on, agitation. Don't think that as you go up high, there will be enjoyment. Yes, there will be enjoyment, but this also is there. There also there is anxiety and distress. Anywhere in the material world, everywhere it is there, to different degrees, but it is there. Distress, anxiety, agitation. We see example after example, again and again. But one who's, even Dhruva Maharaj also was agitated when he was being told by his stepmother, you cannot sit on your father's lap. You have to be born on from my womb, or you have to get mercy from the Supreme Lord. Go and worship. At least that instruction was good. Rest everything. He became so agitated as a Kshatriya. His anger was biting his lips, and he was so much like a snake hissing. He was so much angry. Then he went home and told his mother, yes, I also cannot do what she told is correct. I am not in that position of a queen. Your namesake, I am a queen. Then he went on. Then he told, yes, it is good, but don't curse or don't think bad about your stepmother. Don't pray to the Lord that give some punishment to her, or don't think like that. Even in your mind, she is very good. She is very religious. That you can see from her consciousness. Even though she did so much bad, but still she was not agitated. That means she is very much Suniti. Suniti. Suruchi was stepmother who did like that, but Suniti was very calm, very quiet, very tolerant. That's what one who is fixed up means. In intelligence, mind, fixed up, is tolerant. So that is the quality. Shastra Brahma is praying. It is mentioned. Tattenu kampam susamikshmano bunjana evatma pratam vipagam hridvag vapubir vedadam namaste sadayava mukti pade sadayava. One who is tolerating. As you perform in Krishna consciousness, you have to tolerate. There will be difficulties from so many angles. It could be job, it could be family, it could be health, it could be many people may, in your family, extended family, so many people may give you different direction, different criticism. So many things we have to face in community, wherever you go. As soon as you have a tilak, kantimala, you are chanting, they see then what can I be, this person is crazy or what. So many things you may have to face. Many of our devotees face, they will put into jail, so many things. We are not in that position. So we are not in that condition. But still we are struggling to perform Krishna consciousness. So that's why, that means Krishna has given much more facilities for us. We must use it carefully. If we don't, then it doesn't last long. So we have to use when things are available. So it is in our control. So at least to some extent, the free will. So we should use it very carefully. So one who is patiently tolerating, tatten anukampam susamikshama, depending on the mercy of spiritual master and Supreme Lord, Sadhu and Shastra and Guru, then for them guaranteed. Krishna is guaranteeing that he will be able to attain Krishna. he will be able to, because he is very much tolerant, he is simply executing the principles, instructions of spiritual master and supreme lord. So he is just simply surrendering, fully surrendered. So he's not getting agitated, he's not losing his patience. So that's what the instruction from here, from these verses, we can get, and we have to see, constantly observe how we are doing in our life, constantly gauge ourselves, so that way we'll be able to understand where we are going. Yeah, in 11.2.43, as I mentioned, iti achyutangrim bhajato anuvritya, constantly, regularly perform activities, bhaktir, devotion, viraktir, detachment, yeah, priya gavat, prabodha, bhavanti bhagavatasya rajams, tata paranti sante upaiti sakshat. Yeah, automatically they will get happiness. Nava Yogendra is telling to Kimi, devotee who worships the lotus feet of infallible personality of Godhead with constant endeavor, anuvritya means constant endeavor, thus achieves unflinching devotion. As soon as he is constantly endeavoring, trying to improve his dressing, his hearing, his chanting, is constantly thinking, what can I offer better, how can I cook better, how can I dress better, how can I do garlands better, always thinking constantly. There is no perfection. Gopis are thinking, what can I offer better? So what we are nothing, we are at the lowest. But in this way, constantly endeavoring. Prabhupada always tried to perfect, constantly endeavoring. So like that should be the mold. Constantly endeavoring, perform various acts, then automatically will achieve unflinching devotion and detachment, internal detachment. And then experience knowledge of the Lord, his qualities, nama, rupa, guna, lila, everything. So in this way, we get successful, then automatically successful devotee of the Lord achieves supreme spiritual peace. So in this way, we can achieve spiritual peace. So this is what has been talked about in these verses. The verse we were talking earlier about this, where is that verse? Dravya. We are talking about the Dravya. Where is that verse? Anyways, okay. So any questions? We'll stop here. That's what these verses are teaching us. How one should be fixed up. So following those three principles, Bhokta, Sarvalok, Maheswaram, Suhridam, Sarvabhutanam. Always depending on Krishna as his friend, always seeking, pray to him, seek guidance and spiritual master and advanced devotees, Prabhupada. In this way, then thinking that everything offered to Krishna, everything. So he is the enjoyer, he is the controller. So depend on him, then automatically we'll be happy and get peace. And always depend on the boatman, expert boatman, and depend always on the favorable conditions, wind, Shastra, that's why Shastra. Taking shelter of Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, taking shelter of the Shastra, and taking shelter of the expert boatman, the spiritual master, slowly and gradually, under the association of devotees, then we can automatically, even if strong wind comes, rather it increases, enhances our bhakti. It gives us more opportunities to grow. Basically, we will understand our difficulties, where our drawbacks are with those difficulties. That's our difficulty. Krishna uses everything in our progress. Even though it is our karma, Krishna uses very much teaching. Krishna is teaching us many lessons through various difficulties. Sometimes it may be direct, sometimes indirect. Indirect means through family members or through job or so. Different ways we may get difficulties. Sometimes it's directly impacting us. So various difficulties may come, but it's all learning lessons to grow in our consciousness and our absorption. So that I'll stop here. Any questions on the phone? So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai.